Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Source Snack Break. I'm Brittany McLean, the Director of Membership here at Source. Today is Wednesday, July 28th. It is also National Milk Chocolate Day. So to get everybody warmed up as you guys are joining the room, you'll see on the right hand of your screen, there's a chat box. I would love to hear if people are team milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate. We'll get it started. It's a way for you to test out the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. You can also use that during the presentation today to ask questions along the way, or if you see something that you love, go ahead and put it in there. We'll definitely try and pause and answer the questions as we're going through the presentation, but we'll save a few minutes at the end too if we don't get a chance to answer it right away. So I'm excited this week. I've got Ben from TorZo Surfaces who's joining us. So welcome, Ben. I've got to know what team are you? Team chocolate?
I like all chocolate, but I'm really a fan of dark chocolate with a glass of red wine.
Oh, nice. That is a good combo. I love it. I love it. And I have to give a shout out real quick too to my lovely backdrop. I'm being hosted by Hightower Group up in Seattle. So if you're in the Seattle area and tuning in, Source has a library pop up here. So I feel like I'm missing. I need this set up for all my snack breaks. They've got a great showroom here. So definitely check that out. But Ben, I'm excited to chat with you today. If you could just start us out, tell us a little bit about sort of what your journey with TorZo's been, how long you've been there, and maybe at a high level, an overview of the company itself for anybody who might not be familiar, and then we can jump right in.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the intro, Brittany. My name is Ben. I've been with TorZo. TorZo is a division of a family-owned company. We're based here in Woodburn. I live in Portland, so I drive to the office 4 days a week. I've been with the company since 2012, and I've had some different roles there, starting out in the lab and then transitioned over to marketing for some of our acrylic polymers and wood adhesives. And then in 2018, moved over full-time to doing TorZo because I was kind of doing a little bit of TorZo on the side with some of my other responsibilities. But I've always enjoyed working with the design community, and TorZo is such a unique product that brings a lot to the table in terms of balancing durability and sustainability. And so that's kind of been my journey getting here to TorZo, and I've been doing it a few years now. And I was really looking forward to getting out of the office soon and making some visits into firms again. And then and I had some travel plans made, and then I got a call yesterday saying that Texas is like kind of rolling back some things and starting to get closed again. So I guess that's just going to have to wait for now. But yeah, as a company,
it's great we can have you join virtually. See, I know I've been missing that too. It's just not quite the same, but yeah,
it's not.
I guess.
Yeah, but it is in a lot of ways. It's pretty efficient. We can reach a lot of people, and probably some of you are tuning in from home, maybe eating lunch right now, and so there's always some pros and cons, I guess. But I'll go ahead and jump into it and kind of describe what we do here at TorZo. So these are interior architectural finishes, and super versatile. Kind of what I like to tell people is that TorZo can be used any place that wood might be specified, but it can also be used in any place that maybe wood would not be the greatest option because of maybe some durability concerns, like for tabletops or bar tops, and some places where there might be some water exposure. TorZo is not waterproof, but it is highly water resistant. So basically, endless possibilities on where it can be used, from vertical, including wall paneling and like the fronts of reception counters, that sort of thing. Horizontal could be bar tops and tabletops and cabinets and things like that. We've also got some flooring options, but all of this stuff is geared towards commercial environments where there's going to be high traffic, high demand, and high performance needed. That's where this stuff really shines. It's completely unique. There's no one else out there doing what TorZo does. And all of our products that are inputs that go through the infusion process, which I'll talk about, they're all sustainable. They're all coming from either kind of recycled forest products or agricultural products. Oftentimes it's kind of the waste that's left over. So we can remove that from the waste stream. That's always a really good thing. And then, so I'll jump into a little bit what the infusion process looks like here.
Yeah.
So what we do is take composite panels, and these are pretty standard kind of construction industry products, things like you're familiar with OSB and MDF and particle board. But these things are mostly kind of underneath. They're not really seen. So they're going to be like sheathing on the roof or on the building envelope, or in the case of MDF, it'll be like a subdeck for countertops, or maybe making some cabinet boxes out of it. So that's some of our inputs, and it goes through this infusion process, and it really transforms that material into something totally different. We've also got some kind of non-standard composite panels, and these are things like balsa wood, which is not typically used as an interior surface product because it's pretty soft.
Mm-hmm.
Sorghum is another one, hemp, wheat. So these are all agri-fiber products that are kind of the waste left over after these things have been processed. And then we've also got one textile-based product, which is our denim. And I've got a slide kind of devoted to that one that I'll get into next. But yeah, all of these are organic materials. Most of them are going to be like byproducts from other processing things. And then in the case of any wood products, it's going to be certified for responsible forestry practices by either FSC or SFI. Okay. So we've got kind of a before and after picture there. That's our sorghum straw material.
Is that, sorry, I can't see, if you're moving your mouse, we can't see where that is. Which picture are you referring to?
Can you see my mouse circling that one?
We can't, no, unfortunately.
Okay, so on the left, under composite panels, to the left of the arrow there, that's our infused sorghum. And if you got a sample of it in your hand, it's pretty lightweight, it's pretty soft. You can just with your fingernail kind of dig in there and it's going to make an impression. So it wouldn't be really something suitable for a horizontal surface like a tabletop, for example. But after the infusion process, which I'll describe, that resin actually impregnates like the entire panel. It's not just on top. It actually gets pushed in throughout the whole thing. And then the resin has a dye in it. And then, so it gives it some color. And then because of the natural variation in the substrate, you get all these different concentrations of deep blues and light blues in the case of our sapphire sample there. So with all the natural variation within that wood, you get some pretty cool aesthetic things going on there. So the infusion process is, it's about a 10 to 12 hour process. We can do 17 panels at a time. The size is 3 foot by 8 foot. We've got some smaller ones, 3 by 6, and some other odd sizes. But our vessel that we do this infusion process in, it's got a 3 foot and a couple of inches diameter. So that's kind of our limitation there. But during this process, the vessel gets like flooded with this liquid resin that has the dye in it. And then through a series of vacuum and heat and pressure, this reaction takes place. And it's really important to note when you're talking about a chemical reaction here that at the end of the process, it's 100% reacted, meaning it's an inert material. and it's not releasing any VOCs. It's not releasing any other chemicals as it's off-gassing or anything like that. So it's really important to note that it's 100% reacted, and that's really important for your indoor air quality. So that's a little bit about the infusion process itself. And then after these materials are infused, they contain between 30 and 50% resin, depending on the material that went into it. So the balsa, it's super lightweight. It's got a lot of like little air pockets. It takes a lot of resin. Something like the OSB, it's pretty dense as is, so it's not going to take quite as much. So you got 30 to 50% resin. The other 70 to 50% is that sustainable composite material. And so with the infusion, the hardness goes up. That's measured on what's called a Jenko ball test. And I've got some figures in my long presentation that I use for CEUs. But the increase in hardness is like 6, 7, 8 times. So at that point, something like balsa or denim, which is pretty soft, that can actually turn into something that's 3, 4, 5 times harder than hardwoods like oak or maple. So it's really super strong stuff.
We have a couple of questions that have come in. One of them, we have two kind of related to how to disinfect that, and if they're like if it'll hold up to bleach and water. Could you talk a little bit about like the cleanability and kind of what that looks like?
Yeah, definitely. When I was updating my presentation, my long, like hour-long CEU one, I added in a slide there because that's a really super relevant thing that we need to be thinking about these days, right? And so these panels are typically supplied, I'd say about 80% of the time, supplied unfinished, meaning that they need a top coat finish after it's been like cut and sanded and built out to your design. So that finish is going to be where the cleansability factors in. And we offer some pre-finished products from TorZo. These would be pre-finished restaurant tabletops and bar tops and column wraps and some like reception countertops. So all of these things that are pre-finished by TorZo, they're going to be 100% compatible with healthcare grade sanitizers. So that's going to be sanitizers containing bleach, containing hydrogen peroxide, and then there's some newer technology out there called quaternary compounds. So anything that is pre-finished by TorZo is going to be compatible with those sanitizers when they're used as directed. There's not going to be any detrimental effects to the TorZo surface. So anything that's not pre-finished, what we can do is recommend to the mill worker that's going to be building out your design, we can recommend a finish to use that is going to be compatible with that. So either way you go, if it's pre-finished or if it's unfinished sheets, which is oftentimes the mill worker kind of makes that call. So we can work with them to recommend the right finish so that it is compatible with healthcare grade sanitizers.
Perfect. That sounds great. And we also have some questions about sort of any other maybe sustainability or certifications, third parties outside of like FSC that you guys, your products have gone through that process. Is there any other labels or things that you guys are affiliated with or have in process?
Yeah, we've got a few things. So we have health product declarations for just about every one of our products, certifying them for indoor air quality and low VOC or no VOC emitting. They qualified for California high performance school specifications for indoor quality, which are really stringent. And then we're listed in the Mindful Materials Library.
Perfect.
I'm not sure how many of you all might be in a firm that has been, kind of sourcing materials through a channel like Mindful Materials or Declare, or there's some other programs out there like that. But Mindful Materials is all about transparency in terms of the ingredients and the process. So I think we've got probably 8 or 10. The majority of our products are listed in the Mindful Materials library with documentation to support the that information.
Awesome. Yeah. And we definitely have some kind of follow-up questions around that. And we can certainly, if we don't have time to address those all, send you an email, make sure that you get connected afterwards with Ben. One last one kind of related to that is, do you know if you guys are on the red list ready as part of, do you guys have declared labels on anything at this point?
Yeah, we haven't been participating in Declare or the Red List. We've kind of chosen to work with Mindful Materials. But we have, like I said, those health product declarations, and that typically satisfies requests that we get if we're not listed on, with the Declare label or a green guard type thing. Can we provide some other documentation, which we can do that.
Perfect. That sounds great. Yeah. And I know there's maybe a few other that we didn't get a chance to go to. I definitely want to make sure we see some more. I know we've got, I believe it was Thomas who's asking about the denim, and I'm sure there's a photo of that coming up. So we'll make sure if we know your other questions, we'll save some of those at the end. So I'll let you keep going. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And so I have a whole slide here devoted to denim because that's my personal favorite. And there's a lot of things that I like about it more than just the look. But textile waste is a huge, or the textile industry is a huge contributor of waste. And, we're all wearing clothes. We all have curtains hanging up and upholstery everywhere. And it's just incredible how much textiles we produce, but it's also incredible how much gets put into the waste stream. And it's a staggering amount, and very little of it is recycled. So one thing that we can do with the denim is we take scraps that are left over from a jeans manufacturer, and so these are pre-consumer recycled scraps pressed into a board, and then we put that through our infusion process. And I love it because you can still make out the scraps and the detail, and it looks like denim. And denim, if it wasn't infused, it would not be a great surfacing material. It's not uniform and smooth and even, but with our infusion process, it really stabilizes that product. We can sand it, we can fill in all the little micro voids, we can make it into a nice, clean, smooth surfacing product without losing the appearance of those denim scraps. So that's one of my favorite ones. And there's some other textiles that I'd be interested in experimenting with. Synthetic fibers don't really take well to the infusion, but things like denim, 100% cotton, anything that's an organic fiber, it's probably going to infuse really well. So we always like to play around with new materials, and I'd love to be able to introduce some more textile-based surfaces because it's a you can look at some of the statistics. It's just a huge industry for contributing to greenhouse gases and waste, unfortunately. So anything we can do to remove some of that from the waste stream and give it a new life is really good.
And do you know, like, are those scraps, are those things that you guys have partnerships with different organizations to get those? How are you guys sourcing some of these materials?
Yeah, we have a single supplier over in Asia that I think what they're doing is acquiring it from lots of different factories over there, and then so that's where we get it from. And we have the blue one, which is our main one, but we've experimented with some camo material and some reds and whites. So there's some different options out there. The blue has been, by far the most popular. So yeah, besides that partner, I'm sure there's other organizations out there that are trying to find outlets, because it's just a huge number of tons of material. So I'm sure with the right partnerships, we'd be able to source some other things.
Cool. I know if anybody does have to jump off, I know we're a little on, we had some questions sneaking, which is great. And we have a few more that we'll save at the end, but feel free, Ben, to finish through. But if anybody does have to jump off early, we'll send out this recording afterwards if you want to catch the last little bit. But I love all these questions, so keep them up.
Yeah, these are great questions. So a little bit of information. This is more just like, when you're specifying it, you won't necessarily have to consider these things, but it's just good to know so that you know what the millwork subcontractor is kind of going to be faced with. But yeah, like I said, about 80% of what we do is unfinished sheets that are built out to your design by a qualified mill worker or a cabinet shop. And like I said, we also offer some pre-finished things. Things like countertops, tabletops, bars, and even some wall paneling. And a lot of people are surprised that it can actually be curved quite a bit, because we're talking about hardness and durability, but it's also quite flexible. So you can do up to about a 3-foot diameter curve for like a column wrap. But if you want to go tighter than that, then the millworker has some tricks up their sleeve, like kerfing, where they'll remove sections from the back, and then that'll allow it to bend to an even tighter radius. So you can design something out that has a curve to it and down to a pretty tight radius. Cool. There's also some options for different edge details when you're specifying tabletops or bar tops. So the one picture there with the beer in it, that has exposed plywood subdeck, which some folks really like that look. And then the one right above there has the balsa edge banding so that it looks like a solid surface. You can also CNC router out logos. You can do patterns like waves and spirals. You can inlay lighting into it. You can even play with the grain patterns. So a lot of these materials are linear, but you can do more than just up and down, side to side. You can do some geometric patterns with them. Okay. So it's yeah, it's pretty unlimited what you can do with how you put these things together. Perfect. So in the last few minutes here, I just wanted to throw out, we are, everything is made here in Oregon. We're a woman-owned business. Mindful Materials, I put that there. Someone already asked about that. And if you go to our website, there's tons of installation shots. You can go to the featured projects or the photo galleries page and see lots of different things. You can request samples. So our standard sample kit is like this 1-foot cube. If you've got room for it in your library, or Source has, all of our stuff there too. So you can request samples either way. And then a lot of you, I think, are in the Pacific Northwest. So our rep is located in Seattle. His name's George Thomaser. If you're not located in the Pacific Northwest, just go online, use the map, and that'll tell you the contact info for your local rep. And if you want, this has been a super brief version. Usually I do over an hour presentation that qualifies for CEU credit with AIA and IDCEC. This is just kind of a little snapshot of that. If you'd like to do a kind of full-blown 1-hour CEU course, there's a contact form you can fill out and request that. Happy to do that anytime.
Awesome. That's great. Perfect. Well, yeah, if anybody has to jump off, it was great having you, but we do have a few more questions that came in. So if you don't mind, I'll get to that. Have a couple people wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the environmental impact with the acrylic resin that you use, how that factors in.
Yeah. So the finished product, like I mentioned, is about 30 to 50% resin, and then 50 to 70% is that sustainable composite panel that's going to be your recycled waste. And so from an environmental perspective, acrylic is pretty abundant. It's in all of the paint and coatings that's on the walls around us. It's in solid surfaces like quartz and corian. And the acrylic it's a water-based product, but it still is coming, if you go up the supply chain, it's going to be coming from a petroleum derivative. And so we feel like if we can offer a product that is 50% or more of that sustainable material, then in the world of materials that we use, that's doing pretty good. It's definitely more environmentally friendly than stone and some concrete, some of the other synthetic surfaces out there. So yeah, the acrylic is definitely a component in the surface, and that's where the magic comes from, right? That's where you can take something like balsa or denim or hemp that wouldn't be suitable for a surface, and you can give it new life that way as a commercial interior surface.
Perfect. Hopefully that answered your all's questions. And if not, again, we'll pass out, you'll get a follow-up and it'll have Ben's contact information if you need more on that. We also had a question, just kind of generally, if you could talk a little bit about maybe like your lead time and pricing, like what can we expect for your materials?
Yeah, sure. So we stock a lot of the natural colors. I wish I had a slide with all of our different colors. We've got 8 or 9 colors. So the natural colors would be clear, which is just kind of the wood or whatever substrate it is, natural color. And then the onyx cocoa and ash. So those are all our natural colors. And typically those are in stock. There's some premium colors like the sapphire, amethyst, ruby, and turquoise. We've got kind of limited stock on hand, but we can produce these in usually 2 weeks or less. So if from a lead time, it's kind of 48 hours to 2 weeks if it's something we need to make. I do want to point out on the pre-finished products, that's going to be like our tabletops and countertops. That lead time is 8 weeks because it goes through this fabrication partnership that we have with a shop here in Woodburn. And it could be 4 weeks, but it could be up to 8 weeks. So I always like to just set the expectation that it could be up to 8 weeks. A lot of times it's less than that.
Yeah, and about the price point, is that vary too between the different colors or?
It does, yeah. So the different materials, say like the denim versus the balsa versus the OSB based Orient product that we have. So it's going to range from about $18 to $35 a square foot for unfinished sheets. And so kind of a general rule of thumb, we're supplying unfinished sheets. The mill worker is going to do their thing on it. And then when it's all said and done and ready to be installed, then we just about double that. And that's a pretty safe bet for kind of calculating, okay, what's this going to cost? The unfinished is $18.35 a square foot, kind of ballpark, double that for the millwork part of it. And that's going to be your installed cost.
Perfect. Great. That's helpful. Well, I think we covered most of the questions. Again, if we didn't, we'll review the chat afterwards and send you an email. But and this was super helpful. And you guys will be redirected when we close out of here. You'll be able to see some of those colorways right away and order samples. But it was really great to have you, and appreciated you giving us this introduction to your products. And thank you all for joining. We'll be back again next week. So have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thanks, Ben.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you, Brittany. Bye.